read, did that help you make your choice of whatever it is you were looking to make a purchase of? Hi, I'm Christine Rothdeutsch.
And I'm Barbara Menino.
And today on Soapbox Wisdom, you guessed it, we're talking about reviews and testimonials. But first, I want to ask you to please like, share, comment on this episode of Soapbox Wisdom. So, Barbara, testimonials and reviews. This is a great topic for you because you're a writer. So I'm going to be picking your brain.
Picking my brain.
Um, but let's first talk about like, why should we have testimonials and reviews? Like, do we really need testimonials and reviews? And does it vary by business even? And I don't even think we discussed this prior, like different types of business and whatnot. But what are your thoughts on the need for testimonials and reviews?
There's a great need. And unfortunately, I think people don't always acknowledge the need, act on the need, and maybe sometimes they're even a little bit uncomfortable because they feel they have to solicit a compliment from people. Uh, but if it's done in the right way, it can be well done and it pays great dividends because it shows other people that there are external people, there are customers who validate all the good things you're probably saying about yourself directly or indirectly on your website. And it puts it in everyday conversational language that makes it very relatable. So it really can do a lot to bring new people into your business fold.
Well, and I'm thinking that it's really important if you have a business, or I should say, if your business model doesn't include a lot of speaking or holding events. When I think of events that people are holding, you have a captive audience and they're getting your information and they're starting to love you, and when you make an offer they're ready to buy. But if you're not doing those things and you're relying on people coming to your website to check you out to see if they want to do business with you, that's going to really definitely make a difference versus just listing, this is how I can help you. But hearing from people that you've worked with, what are some of the results that you've produced? So I think, yeah, it's very important for people in that position. And before we go any further, let's discuss what is the difference between reviews and testimonials. Because I think you and we deal more in testimonials for our use.
So I think of review, the famous Google review, the Yelp review, and people ask for them a lot. I've seen people in all professions ask for them, but they seem to me more apropos for your retail establishments where people are in and out. They're talking about, is your food good? Is your service good? Etc. And the thing about reviews, by the way, is that it's a candid commentary. So it's not just if people love you, but they can hate you as well. And reviews can give people the power of the keyboard. And if they're feeling like they need to have a good vent that day and they haven't liked your service, a review is a good place to do that. A testimonial, on the other hand, is a more groomed piece. And by that, I mean you're going to reach out to people who have clearly expressed and maybe just really gone on and on favorably about the experience of working with you, about your service, about the result they achieved when they used your services. So a testimonial is a favorable customer story that definitely endorses the value and the effectiveness of your business.
Yeah, so I guess the downside there is a little downside, I think, to that, like you say, we get to put the good stuff out if we're just relying on the testimonial aspect of it versus opening ourselves up to reviews on those platforms. And besides the types of businesses that people have and depending on whether they do the review or not, it's the type of business, but also where the people live. I had given a review to someone I worked briefly with. She's located in Australia, and she said that
Smart.
over there in Australia, down under, that the Google reviews, even for what she was doing, held more weight than just sending her a testimonial to put on her website.
That's actually very interesting, which would suggest, I guess, that the practice and the preference on these things could be regional, could
Mm,
be industry too. It
right.
it could be both those things. I I suspect that sometimes people, all of us, you who are in our audience, and Christine and me, um, can be reticent because probably 9 times out of 10, uh, getting a good testimonial requires an ask, requires that we say to the person, wow, I love what you said about working with us. Um, it would be great if you could give me a testimonial. And the little fear that goes up, the little concern is that, do we look like we're imposing upon them? I think that if we agree that testimonials are important, we have to work at getting over that. And the best way to get over a fear or an area of discomfort is to just do it. There are ways to do it nicely. If it's not inconvenient for you, no pressure if you can't. If you need me to write down some questions that you might touch on in your review, or even if you need me to write it for you, of course you have to give your approval. I would not, or edit it. I would never just write something and put it out there without having the approval and the okay of the person from whom it's supposed to be.
Well, you brought up a lot of good points there, Barbara, and I have learned, and I even have some of the questions. I don't have them ready to go all the time, but I should, of what to give to someone when I'm asking for a testimonial, kind of like, where were you before we worked together, and where are you after, and everything, instead of waiting and asking for a testimonial, and then the person starts to hesitate a little bit, and as you said, ask the person, should I give you questions? I think it's perfectly okay just to say, "Oh, I'd love it if you'd give me a testimonial, and by the way, to make it easier on you, you can use these or not," because maybe some people are writers, like you, Barbara, and they don't need the questions, uh, or, but I look at those areas that you can, close the gap instead of waiting for okay, you asked for the testimonial and you didn't get it. Now you reach out again. It's like, do you need should I give you some questions? You give them the questions and they still don't respond. And then you reach out because I think this was part of our conversation too earlier of like, well, how often do you ask?
Yeah.
After somebody said yes, they'll do it. How often do you ask? Well, I don't know. I think that if somebody said they would do it, I think you keep asking till they do it. Or you help them to do it, like you say. Maybe you write it for them and then get their approval or something like that. But I think when you can look at all what goes into a good testimonial, have those questions ready to go, have the format, and I think also, how do they submit it? How do they send you a testimonial? Video is an easy one. I even have an app for that. Here's a link to a video testimonial and a written, uh, but even there still, even when I make things easy for people, they still give me pushback on giving
Yeah,
me that testimonial.
Everybody gets busy, and it takes a space of time because you have to really think about it, but just a few things to consider. And you mentioned some questions, and I wanted to mention two that I came across that sort of warmed my heart. What has exceeded your customer expectations about us? And then one word to describe our business.
Mm.
What I like about those two is they elicit kind of exclamatory responses. Even one word, what what's one word to describe our business? Super! Exclamation point. And then, of course, a sentence to give that super some substance. But those are very cool ways that almost make the testimonial fun. And two other things. It's not a one-way street, Christine.
Mhm.
First of all, it is a compliment to reach out to a person and say you've loved what they said about you. You wonder if they would be willing to write a testimonial, or if you could use what they said as a testimonial, again with their approval. Um, it shows you care about them. And, it's a compliment, and it gives them some exposure. Their name,
Mhm.
uh, their logo, a link to their website, perhaps even a picture. Um, these are things that give them visibility. So, again, it is not a one way street.
Yeah. It's amazing though. I know see lots of opportunities that people are missing out on. You're making things easy for them. You wanna give them more exposure and everything. And there's other areas that this comes into in business that you offer people things, and they're just not taking it. And it's sad. It's sad that when there's opportunities just waiting and it's not taken. But as I'm saying this, it's like I know myself too. I have a few testimonials maybe that I have in me to give to people. And as I say, you give and you will receive back again.
You will.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, to your point, I had a seventh grade health teacher, Miss Ruth. She would always say, common sense is not so common. And what you just said about any of us not taking the opportunity that's put before us, that business of people writing you an email, passing, saying something is just a natural comment. I mean, what a platform to say to them, do you mind if I use that? That warms my heart. Or however, is typical of your personality to say that. Years ago, when I was writing for Fox, and I would get positive comments or a word on Twitter, Facebook, or whatever about my article, I would clip what anybody wrote and I would put them in a yellow folder, and it was called my sunshine folder. And certainly good seeds for saying, could I use any of this as a testimonial? Certainly a wonderful folder to peruse on a bad day or even a good day to make you feel even more than 10 feet tall. So it's a lot of benefit in the
Yeah.
testimonial. But Christine, what about being on the other side, being the giver of the testimonial?
Mm.
So what is involved with those responsibilities?
Well, just as we were talking about when we ask for the testimonials, I hope our listeners are taking these notes to say, "Oh, this is good stuff when somebody does ask me for a testimonial, so I know where to start and what to give, what I should be writing." When you're giving the testimonials, I think when somebody asks, say yes immediately and do it and embrace
Do
it.
it.
Embrace it.
Embrace it.
I did an in-person event a few months ago, and right at the very end, while I still had the people in the room, I'm like, "Oh, wait a minute, let me grab my phone and get a few video testimonials." It's like before you nobody wanted to do it. They're like, I'll send you something. I'll send you something." But I think this is another area of our businesses that just take it and run with it. Do it because it's going to help you. Even you as the giver, it's not just the testimonial to help the person that you're giving it to, but like you say, if your name is out there, if your business is out there attached to that testimonial, it's going to help you. And it's rather silly when you don't do it. I'm just saying.
Well, I like you're essentially saying strike while the iron is hot. That was very
Yes.
smart of you that was an in-person event that you held. And
Mhm.
it was very smart of you to ask the women to do that when they were present, when the event was right over and they were still in the room with you. I could see that the obstacle is they would be afraid, they would be bashful to be on video, they would be shy, they would think they wouldn't know what to say. Then you have to figure out ways around that. Give it a try. Maybe you'd say, here, just pretend like you're talking to your friend sitting at the coffee shop. Or maybe you had an alternate survey, short questionnaire
Mhm.
that you could say to them, well, maybe this will, get your wheels turning. Because that's important too. Getting people's wheels turning. I think once you get them to the point where they're in the groove, where you begin to sort of extract things from them, it becomes easier. It's just that first hurdle. Even you, I loved
Mhm.
when you said somebody asks you, do it right away. Because I know I've been asked and I'll think, oh, I have to do this tomorrow. I have a busy day today. Then tomorrow becomes the next day. And I
Mhm.
have to get very strict with myself to do it. So this whole strike while the iron is hot thing is very important.
Well, I mean, the thing about video testimonials, and I know for a fact that I did not go into more explanation of saying, "Look, this is just to capture your testimonial." I'm not saying I'm going to use the video. Video is just an easy method to talk,
That's a good point.
and it could have easily has been just an audio recording. But it's just easier to talk through things than it is to sit and write a testimonial. So, yeah, next time around, I should specify, "Look, this is just an easy way to capture it." I'm not saying I'm gonna use the video per se, because I think that is what holds people up. It's like, "Oh, no, a video testimonial? Oh, I'm gonna be out there forever," and it's like, well, no, it depends. It depends on if it's quality video, absolutely use it. It's like, but if it's just a way to capture the information, that's all it is.
Well, just as God made flat shoes instead of high heels, He made a cell phone to be able to just pull it out of your
Yeah.
pocket and have them do a video for just speaking impromptu. And then you can put it together and again have them approve it. And one other thing, if they do it, make sure you're very profuse with your gratitude,
Mhm.
and really make them understand how much you appreciate it. Did you know, Christine? Here's a fun fact that testimonials are proven to up the ante on your conversion rate. And I read that testimonials that include a picture of the person giving the testimonial can up your conversion rate by, I love this number, 102.5%. That is a high number.
Wow, yes, I'll take 102%. That's the thing. Here we're talking about no cost advertising. How
No
about that?
cost.
No cost. People are looking for low and no cost. Testimonials are one of those for both sides. Yeah.
And again, they are conversational. You may say, on your website, we have a 99.9% meeting deadline rate. And the person would say, forget the numbers, wow, you were so fast. Which is going to grab at your heart more? Wow, you were so fast, or that 99.9%? Again, it's the feels. It's always how expressions and words, I know I'm partial to them, but how words make people feel. And testimonials have the power to do that.
Right. Yes, and we all need to step up our game with the testimonials.
So, would you say we've amply covered the subject and proven the point that testimonials matter?
Absolutely, Barbara. I think, we've pretty much covered everything from every perspective, from the person asking to the person giving their testimonial to even the person who's reading it. Yeah.
Well, the person who's reading it, um, that's interesting because there's this whole FOMO thing. They want to be part of the in crowd that likes this particular business. And they are frankly influenced by people who like a product or service. That can put them over the edge and cause them to buy. So, bottom line, we cannot overlook testimonials. Get over any discomfort you have to ask people. Capitalize on the good things they say to you. Enjoy it. Feel 10 feet tall and make them feel 10 feet tall with your gratitude.
Soapbox Wisdom is hosted by brand messaging and storytelling consultant Barbara Menino and business and mindset coach Christine Rothdeutsch. You can find them online at barbaramenino.com and christinerothdeutsch